So the media is coming to the defense of Joe Biden, and they're really bending over backwards to make their case. This is something. So Newsweek's Matt Cannon said Joe Biden critics falsely claim president lied about $2,000 stimulus checks. Falsely claimed president lied about $2,000 stimulus checks. This is as brazen as it gets. I'm not sure maybe the Iraq War is probably the best example of like the most egregious lies ever. But this is up there. This is absolutely up there. We have this thing called video that exists. I don't know if you heard of it. We saw him say it. Not only did he say it, he said it after the $600 already passed, and he was saying, we're going to get you $2,000 checks. Now, I'm not a math guy, and I'm not a genius, but if $600 already passed, and he's saying after that, we're going to get you $2,000 checks, that would be a total of $2,600. He did a rally in Georgia where he said, not only are we going to do it, vote for Ossoff and Warnock, it'll break the gridlock in D.C., and we'll get you those checks, quote, immediately. Immediately, he used. He used the word immediately. My interpretation of immediately is within the first 2 or 3 days. I don't know about you guys, but that's what I think of when I think of immediately. But if you don't want to accept that, okay, listen to what Ossoff said. Ossoff said, next week we're going to get it to you. So next week, meaning the first week of the Biden administration. We're already past the first week of the Biden administration. They didn't do it. Warnock had ads saying $2,000 checks if you vote for the Democrats. Well, guess what? The Democrats won, and they didn't do the checks. Now, Warnock and Ossoff were so annoyed at the fact that they didn't do the $2,000 checks. Apparently, they called Joe Biden, they called his administration, and they were basically begging, like, listen, this is why we think we won. You can't just back off of this. There are going to be consequences to this. For the love of God, let's push, let's do the $2,000 checks. What are we doing? What are we doing? So if Biden didn't lie, well, that's interesting because it appears like Warnock and Ossoff think he lied, and they're prodding him to try to stay true to his word. Which, again, they already missed the boat because it's been a week. But do you see the mindset of corporate media? This is the mindset. The mindset is, in the same way that Fox News protects Republicans no matter what. You know, they're the Trump Defense Network and the establishment Republican Defense Network. That's their job. Their whole point is propaganda. It's the exact same thing with a lot of the other outlets for the Democrats. They do propaganda for the Democratic Party in the same way that Fox News does propaganda for the Republican Party. It's very rare that you see outlets that are just trying to tell you the truth and hold the powerful accountable. It is super rare. Most of them are in the tank for either the Democrats or the Republicans. And clearly, this person from Newsweek is in the tank for Joe Biden. Because again, we have the video. He said we're going to get you those $2,000 checks immediately. We have the video, and he didn't get the $2,000 checks immediately. He backed off the $2,000 checks completely. And now he's even saying, I'm going to meet with the Republicans, and maybe we'll make a deal. And the Republicans said, no, not even $1,400 checks, $1,000 checks. How can you make the case that it wasn't a lie? It was the most brazen lie I've ever seen. Also, there was a great article in Mediaite where they spoke to the voters in Georgia who went out and voted for Democrats. And they were like, they lied to me. They lied to me. I voted for them for that reason, and they lied to me. I'm not getting the check. They already backed off the check. So I guess I'm just floored as to how brazen it is. I mean, the media will piss on you and say it's rain. Hey, don't question it. It's rain. And you wonder why trust in media is at an all-time low. We covered that story recently as well. I think it was a Pew Research poll. Trust in media is at an all-time low. Well, this is why. Because it's partisan garbage, and everybody's protecting one wing or the other wing of the establishment. And by the way, in that article, I was actually a little bit surprised they didn't bring me up, because they brought up Ryan Knight, who's, you know, a similar guy on Twitter, similar ideologically to what we talk about. And it's fascinating how they don't even really bother to make arguments. They just assert it. Oh, you guys are falsely claiming that Joe Biden lied about $2,000 stimulus checks. Really? Did people get the $2,000 stimulus checks? What do you mean we lied? How can you say that? How can you say that he was telling the truth? Do people have the checks? They don't have the checks. They don't even bother to make an argument. They just assert, like, some Ministry of Truth shit. Like, no, believe me over your lying eyes. It's really something else, man. It really is. Again, from a selfish perspective and a personal perspective, I shouldn't even be upset by this because they leave a lane wide open for somebody who's an idiot loudmouth YouTuber like me to help fill that void. Because at least I'm telling you guys the truth. But again, I'd rather have the media do their job effectively and efficiently and accurately, and then, reduce my subs and reduce my views if it means the media actually does their job. I would gladly take that trade-off. Because I think the effects of this are incredibly corrosive. And you're gonna brainwash a certain segment of the population in the same way that you had Fox News and One American News Network and Newsmax brainwash a segment of the population so that the truth didn't matter. It's the same thing here. And by the way, to social media companies, are you going to pull this stuff down? Because you guys say, oh, blatant misinformation can't be allowed. And now there's this giant censorship push. People outright saying like, oh, the fraudulent election conspiracy theories shouldn't be allowed online, shouldn't be allowed on these various outlets. Now, listen, those theories are total bullshit, of course. But you're just going to ban them? Well, yeah, we can't have it because it's, corrosive and they're not telling the truth. This article is the exact same thing. It's corrosive and they're not telling you the truth. So it's amazing to me. It's amazing to me that it's gotten this extreme. I never would have guessed the lies would be this bad. Like, at least be a little more nuanced about it. At least admit, like, I would have accepted the argument of, oh, it was ambiguous. Even though I don't agree with it, I could see somebody making that case in good faith. That, hey, it's ambiguous because they said $2,000 checks before the $600 passed as well. So you could say they always meant a total of $2,000. And it's just that the messaging changed after the $600 passed. I see there is an argument there. I think it's wrong because they said 2,000 after it as well. But I see that it can be considered ambiguous by some people if you want to be kind in your interpretation to the Democrats. This isn't what the article's saying. The article is saying Joe Biden critics are falsely claiming that the president lied about $2,000 stimulus checks. For good reason, the media is viewed with scorn. I mean, it's really historic at this point, just how much the media is hated. And it opened up the door for a demagogue like Trump to go in there and say, I'm not on the side of the fake news media. I hate the fake news media. I'm with the people. Now, listen, he was full of shit, and he told, what's the number? Like over 30,000 lies when he was in office. So he's not the solution. He's not the answer at all. But God, these guys make it easy to hate them. Don't they? Because you should hate them. Because they suck at their job. And they're a bunch of liars. And they're in establishment protection mode. So, I know, even at this late date, I shouldn't be floored when I see stuff like this. But I am. And I guess on some level, I'm naive. It's like the same with the GameStop situation. And how Reddit is fucking up Wall Street. I was naive. Like, I was understating just how rigged the system is. Because look at how quickly the establishment and the elites coalesced to try to stop Reddit from fucking them up. You know, how the Robinhood app got $1 billion from hedge funds and they stopped allowing the purchase of GameStop and AMC and some other stocks. How Janet Yellen took $800,000 from one of the key players in this whole saga. Like, they acted immediately to try to screw the little guy. And if anything, I was understating just how rigged the system is. It's the same thing with this. Like, sometimes I even understate how terrible the media is. Because you see articles like this and you say, there's no way somebody can say this in good faith. There's no way that this is a genuine interpretation of the unfolding of events. This is somebody who's going out there doing propaganda. They know they're doing propaganda. They know they're lying, and it's not even close.